At the end of stage 5, Damso and Paisley had taken the overall lead, 18 seconds clear of Fekken and Aries, while Cronje and Birkin was 7th overall and leading A7, with Duplessis and Lefkovich still ahead in N4. The final stage of day 1 was a repeat of the first stage, and competitors were aware that a sting in the tail often awaits the unwary at the end of a day's rallying. Nevertheless, the fight up front was intriguing. Duplessis and Lefkovich were determined not to get caught out in the day's final stage, but they did have a comfortable lead in the production car category and could control the pace. Nevertheless, they conceded about 20 seconds to Wilken and Godrich in this stage.
We started slow this morning, not because I wanted to, just took a while to catch a wake up, but it worked for us. The other guys were chasing and falling out, going off the road, breaking their cars, which has worked to our benefit.
The Sasselback Subaru crew had lost none of their competitiveness, despite some back pain still being endured by Charles Wilken, and they were going hard.
We didn't have a good day today. Struggled with some brake problems in stage 2 and 3. I had to drive with a handbrake for 2Ks, but going better now, so we'll see how it goes tomorrow.
Conrad Rotenbach and David Senior were well on their way to another African Championship victory and were well within reach of the front runners. Overall and 6th in Class S2000, the impressive John and Douglas Williams.
We stayed out of trouble and we kept on the middle of the road. In the last stage now we pushed a bit, but we've got a strong car for tomorrow, so we're happy.
Jürgen Fekken and Pierre Aries could smell the lead and took 9 seconds out of the gap to the rally leaders. Let's join 6th place JP Damso and Cobus Frey for the final stage of the day.
Guys, please, 7 open. And 5, 90 left, in over bump. Long 90 right open.
They would end the day in the same overall position, about 2.5 minutes off the pace.
We had a clean run today. Maybe a little bit too cautious, but we'll give it a go tomorrow.
Jan Hubik and Douglas Judd, 5th overall at the beginning of this stage, made up one position by getting past teammates Enzo Kuhn and Guy Hodgson. Hubik knows this area like the back of his hand.
Bit of niggly goodies that's costing us time, so the guys are going to work on it now and hopefully it'll be alright for tomorrow.
Kuhn and Hodgson ran into some problems in this stage, dropping about a minute and ending the day 5th overall.
Very hard day. We lost our brakes and power steering through most of the day, and we lost about 2 minutes.
Rally leaders Serge Damso and Robert Paisley kept cool heads despite the onslaught of the young Volkswagen crew, but a penalty for lateness would drop them to 2nd overall.
We had a bad start this morning, but we get things together now.
Jürgen Fekken and Pierre Aries ended day 1 on top of the standings, courtesy of a 20-second penalty to Damso and Paisley, with Rotenbach and Senior 3rd overall. In N4, Duplessis and Lefkovich had a comfortable lead over Wilken and Godrich. Versace and Legrandsie had a narrow lead in N3 over early leaders Kumantarakis and White. Cronje and Birkin had things completely under control in Class A7, as did Trott and Swan in Class A6. While in A5, Zulu and Peskin had retake the area. Stage 7 was a brand new one over just more than 15 kilometres, sure to test the competitors to the limit. The sun rose over the 29 remaining crews who would tackle a day sure to hold many surprises, perhaps none more so than for the residents and workers of the town of Richmond, who were no doubt used to a much more leisurely pace of life.
Jürgen Fecken and Per Arries in their BP Volkswagen Polo led the field away again, holding an 18-second lead over the remainder of the field.
Into the long right 6 Titans. And the long left 8 Titans. Possible mud and water. Right 6 Titans. Long left 7, again possible mud and water. Left 8, C80, small crest, right 1, and right 3.
Next away, Serge Damso and Robert Paisley in the Castrol Toyota Runex. They were in a good position to improve their place in the championship standings. But for the multiple champions, second position is never good enough, and one of Serge's legendary final day charges was definitely on the cards. John and Douglas Williams in the Gruma Volkswagen Polo, 9th overall overnight, but 8th among the South African competitors, were determined to have a strong second day. It soon became clear, though, that the dust was going to become a big problem on the day.
Enzo Kuhn and Guy Hodgson in the second of the factory BP Volkswagen Polos found themselves down in 6th position overnight, almost 2 minutes down on their teammates at the front, and an almost impossible task of catching up in the limited stage distance still remaining. JP Damso and Cobus Frey in the Team Total Toyota Runex, 4th among the South Africans, had a choice: drive conservatively and maintain position, or go all out and risk losing it all. With dust becoming a problem early on, the first option was the most sensible. Jan Habik and Douglas Judd in the third factory BP Volkswagen Polo were only 20 seconds down on the leading African Championship crews. But they also knew holding station would see them finish on the podium among the South Africans. Third overall and leading the African Rally Championship standings, Konrad Rotenbach from Zimbabwe and Peter Senior from Great Britain. Remaining where they were in relation to their competitors would put them within reach of clinching this year's title.
Second in Class N4 overnight, Charles Wilkin and Greg Godrich in the Sasol Subaru Impreza STI. All they could hope for was that something would go wrong with the class leaders. They never stopped trying in this game. Production car championship leaders, Fisser du Plessis and Dave Leskovich, in the creepy crawly Pertec Subaru WRX STI were not, however, planning on falling into that trap. They had almost 6 minutes to play with. After a quiet day one, the Verlaak sisters, Lola and Megan, were determined to bring their Team Total Subaru Impreza home in one piece. The giant killers, Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin, in their Class A7 Castrol Toyota Runex, aiming to maintain at least their 7th place on the road and 6th overall.
Well, down the order and almost getting it wrong there, Thierry Schubert and Laurens du Plessis in their A7 Volkswagen Polos. Second in A6 overnight, the Team Total Toyota Runex of Craig Trott and Carolyn Swan. Mohamed Musa and Henry Dearlove, third in N3 in their Team Total Toyota Runex. Leading Class N3, Rodney Versace and Arno Lugransi in another Team Total Toyota Runex. And still the only runners in N2, Etienne de Toy and Patrick Vermaak in their McCarthy Toyota Corolla. Second in Class A5 overnight, Gugu Zulu and Carl Peskin in their BP Volkswagen Golf. More than a minute ahead in A5, Charles Conradi and Alvin Kutsia in their Techwood Toyota Taz.
The only KZN regional runners left on the field, Bertus Labuschagne and Lou Zietsman in their VW Golf. Third in the African Championship classification, Chase Atwell and Gareth Daw from Zimbabwe in their Mitsubishi Lancer. After stage 7, Fecken and Aries had extended their lead, with Reitenbach and Senior now slotting into second position. Cronje and Birkin were still leading A7, and Duplessis and Lefkovich class N4. Stage 8 in the same area around Richmond was to be a real tester, where many a fortune could change for the better or worse. Over 45 kilometres, the competitors would have to keep their wits together. John and Douglas Williams had certainly made some people sit up and take notice this season. In only their third rally in the superfast class S2000, they have proved well and truly competitive, with the youngster showing maturity beyond his years and experience. At the end of the previous stage, they had made up another position, now lying 8th on the road and 7th overall.
Another pairing with a bright future ahead of them, this season in a proper works car for the first time, JP Damso and Cobus Frey. They've had many successes over the years, improving all the time, and that first overall win in this class cannot be too far away. One of the veteran pairings in South African rallying, former champions Jan Habich and Douglas Judd, have lost none of their speed, but the dust problem meant they could not mount a serious challenge. A similar problem was facing reigning champions Enzo Kuhn and Guy Hodgson, though they have probably decided by now to settle for a 5th place finish. Damso and Robert Paisley, winners of the opening round of this year's Sasol South African Rally Championship, were on their way to another solid result, which would do their title aspirations no harm at all.
The only crew with no dust problems were Jürgen Fecken and Pierre Aries, so they could control the pace on their way to potentially their first overall victory. Still going strong, albeit down the order, the Rally Chicks Lola and Megan Verlaak, the only all-woman crew in South African rallying. After their disaster in the previous event, Charles Wilkin and Greg Godrich were well on their way to a solid points finish in Class N4. Second among the African rally competitors, Muna Singh and Dave Sihoka from Zambia. They were lying second to last overall. Richard and Natasha Vaughan were looking at bringing their Mitsubishi Lancer home in one piece, even though they had the handicap of an additional air brake. Mr. Duplessis and Dave Lefkovich had given up an overall position after the previous stage, but they were focusing on bringing their Subaru home first in the production car category. Often plagued by niggly problems in the past, the Zulu Rally had been plain sailing for them. Conrad Rotenbach and Peter Senior had moved up to second overall behind Fecken and Aries after stage 7, just 46 seconds down, but it was doubtful whether they'd be able to close that gap.
After 8 stages, Fecken and Aries had a lead of more than a minute over Rotenbach and Senior, with Damso and Paisley another 30 seconds back. In N4, Duplessis and Lefkowitz had extended their lead over Vulcan and Godrich. Musa and Dearlove had gone to the top of the N3 standings over Verspachi and Lachranzi. The remarkable Cronje and Birkin were light years ahead of Kaas and de Portier in A7. Trott and Swan were also comfortably ahead of Lawrence and Jacobs in Class A6. For one, the dust made it difficult to attack.